going on, everybody? Just a Savage here from Crazy Color Gaming. Welcome back to a brand new series on my channel. Stop bringing new series to your channel. It's annoying. Hey, it's my channel. So, today, we are going to be starting a brand new series, like I just said, on the game Subnautica. And for those of you who do not know what Subnautica is a beautiful survival game in which you crash land on an alien ocean planet and you need to survive underwater off of fish and other resources, build your base, stuff like that, and eventually find a way to escape. Now, this game does have a story, but what you need to do is you need to actually go around and explore and do things in order to figure out more of the story. There are a bunch of twists and turns, plot twists. You guys are gonna love it. So, without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to be starting in episode 1 today. So we're going to start a new game. As you guys can see, I already have another game going. That's just my off-channel game that I've been playing. I've gotten pretty far in that. But we're going to start a new game. We're going to go on basic survival. You can also do freedom, in which where you still survive, but you don't have to worry about hunger and thirst and all of that. You also have the creative mode where you don't have to worry about hunger or thirst or anything like that, along with not having to go out and look for resources. You can just build whatever you want. But we're going to be doing basic survival for this Let's Play. Now, I am going to be doing live streams of this every other episode. So the second episode is definitely going to be a live stream. Hope you guys are looking forward to that as well. I know that I've been posting up a lot of CTR content lately, and if you guys follow me on Facebook, you will know that I have been, that right before the game launched, I said I was going to be doing a lot of CTR related content. But I decided to keep my channel vibrant with a variety of content by introducing Subnautica. Now, I already know that a couple of people are going to be interested in this game, mainly a couple of people that I work with. I'm not going to be mentioning their names, but we're going to get started with this. So, I'm going to sit down in my comfy chair. Yes! And we are going to get started with this Let's Play of Subnautica right after it loads for 2 hours. And just as I say something, it loads up. We're abandoning ship. I wonder why.
2, 1.
Oh my. Ow. Oh wait, yeah, we need to put that fire out. Like, we need to put it out, like, right now. Come on. Okay, crisis averted. Altera. For all of your crash landing needs.
You have suffered minor head trauma. This is considered an optimal outcome. This PDA has now rebooted in emergency mode with one directive: to keep you alive on an alien world. Please refer to the databank for detailed survival advice. Good luck.
I was hit in the head with a piece of metal, you stupid AI, and you call that a minor setback? I swear, people who design AI in the future are legit idiots. So, anyway, so here we see that we have the main inventory. So, we're going to be coming to this quite a lot, so be expecting to see it a lot. So on the right, you have your equipment tab, you have in the center you have like the suit that you're currently wearing. You have gloves. You have your feet. You get fins automatically. You also get you can also get a breathing tank, an air tank, so that you can stay underwater longer. You also have a headpiece. We're going to be getting a couple of those, and then you also have 2 modification slots. We'll be going over those in a future episode, but right now we just need to focus on figuring out where we landed. So when you first start up a new game of Subnautica, you are always going to land in a random part of the planet. It's never going to be the same place twice. Only thing, we're going to be going to these locations in future episodes, but there are 2 islands that will always stay in the exact same position no matter where you land. So basically, every time you land, if you just go in the same direction every single time, you will always end up at these locations that I'm talking about. We're going to get to that in a future episode. So let's go over here, and we can hear the PDA be stupid again. We can also go over to blueprints. From here you can see like the different things that you can make. Now you will be getting more blueprints as the game goes on, as you continue to explore, but you have to be willing to explore. So we have air pumps. We also have a handheld scanner. We'll be able to see the recipes for these in the fabricator just as soon as we get this thing fixed. We also have the repair tool, which is one of the first things that we're going to need to make. And then we can get into habitats and vehicles later, but right now, we're not going to be reading any of the survival package stuff unless you guys really want me to. Please leave a comment down below if you want me to go over all of that in more detail. But right now, we are going to go see where we landed. So we're just going to climb up first. Oh my. Okay. So as you can see, that was the ship that we just got off on.
Orbital hull failure. Cause unknown. 0 human life signs detected.
Okay. So I think we are the only survivor. That is a huge ship though, so it wouldn't surprise me if there were other people that were on board before it went haywire. So now what we're going to do is we're actually going to go underwater. The first thing I want to do is get us some food and get us something to drink. Do keep in mind that the AI, when you are low on food or on water, will start to get annoying. So if you hear me start to get annoyed because of that, that's most likely the reason why. So we're just going to dive down here and see where we landed. Okay, so I think we landed in a very basic area. So as you can see, if you look down at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, you will see our health bar, which is indicated by the red heart with the red circle around it. Our hunger is the apple with the yellow circle around it, and our thirst is the water symbol with the blue over it. And then what those 3 are surrounding your oxygen level. Now you need to keep a serious eye on your oxygen level whenever you are exploring underwater, and that is basically the only way that you can survive in this game, is by going underwater. So you go underwater to get your resources, to get your food. You will be going on land. There is land in this game, but there are only 2 islands. But we're going to be going over that in a future episode. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to dive down. We're first going to get some fish to eat. So there are a variety of fish that you can eat, such as these guys right here. These little fish with the big eyes, they're called peepers. peepers are in a great abundance down here, but unless you have the propulsion cannon, they are kind of hard to catch. So as you can see, we picked up the peeper and now it's in our inventory. And what we can do is we can actually hold it in our hand. I do not know why we can, but we can. And then, but we also have other fish that we can collect as well. We can also collect these guys, which are Gary fish. And every time you pick up like a new fish or something like that, your PDA will basically tell you, oh, you found a new creature. So now we're running low on oxygen again. So that's what I'm saying, guys, is that you need to keep an eye on your oxygen level, because if you don't, you're going to suffocate, you're going to lose health, and then you're eventually going to die. So next, yeah, we're just going to pick up a couple more fish. Get back here! Oh, okay, fine. I see how you are here. I'll just grab this guy. Why? I cannot wait to get the propulsion cannon, because you can use that as a fishing tool, and then you don't have to worry about swimming around and chasing after them all the time, and which is nice. So. We also need to get some bladderfish. Bladderfish are fish that you use to actually get water from, quite ironically. You can also cook them, but I don't recommend it, because cooking bladderfish instead of converting them into water is not as, it's just not as, you know, it's more advantageous of you to yes, we are going to eat something. So as you can see, we have like our place is just wrecked, but the fabricator still works, which is actually kind of weird. So you have a variety of different sections that you can craft stuff in. So you have resources, sustenance, personal, and deployables. Resources basically allows you to like convert minerals and stuff like that into other things, such as if we go into basic materials, we can convert titanium from metal salvage, titanium ingots from 10 titanium, silicone rubber. You can make out of creepine sea clusters. We can also make glass out of quartz, bleach, stuff like that. We can also make electronics, which allows us to make a variety of different electronic devices as well. And then you have down here sustenance, which is basically where we need to be. We have cooked peepers, cooked Gary fish, and cooked boomerangs. The game will let you know if you can craft something in one of these regions if the circle is blue around the item, meaning that you have all of the resources necessary to make this. So what we're going to do is we're going to press X on the cooked peeper, and then you can see it actively fabricate onto the fabricator.
Small organisms while disposing of the skeletal structure, bodily fluids, and internal organs, thus rendering them safe for human consumption.
Okay, so apparently these fish are not safe for human consumption until after you cook them in the fabricator. That's just wonderful. So we're going to cook this other cooked peeper. Then we're going to cook this Gary fish.
It is common for those accustomed to synthetic foods to be repulsed by eating an animal carcass. Remember that humans survived this way for millennia. You can too.
Okay, and then we can just cook this boomerang. Okay, so now we're going to back out. We're going to press the touchpad, and then we're going to come back over here if it'll stop lagging, and you will see that these objects are now flashing. These things will go rotten over time, so we do need to eat them like now, and I do not know why my dogs are freaking out, but I'm pretty sure there's a good reason. So we're just going to eat these real quick. As you can see, our health is now back up to full, and it actually replenished some of our thirst as well as some of our health. So that's really good. They're not barking at anything. I'm sorry about that. But now what we're going to do is, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some bladderfish. Hopefully we can find some. There are 2 ways out of this, and it's already dark. That's just great. So,
increased local radiation levels. Trend is consistent with damage to the Aurora's drive core, sustained during planet fall.
okay, that's good to know. So now what we're going to do is we're going to come down here, and you see these little mushroom things? They're called acid mushrooms, and you need them to make batteries. So we're just going to pick up a couple of these. Okay, and then we also need some titanium, but it is just way too dark down here. That's just the thing. The timer for the difference between day and night is just super short. I mean, you are in daytime basically in one moment, and then you are in nighttime the next. It's almost ridiculous. If I had a flashlight right now, which you can actually make, by the way, I would be able to still go down there and do stuff. But because I do not have one just yet, we basically can't do that. So while we're waiting, this escape pod comes readily equipped with a storage container which you can use to store your items. Now, there are no limitations to which you can store in here, but there are a lot of objects in the game that do take up more space than usual. So we are just going to put 2 of these acid mushrooms into the storage by pressing R2 twice. We're also going to put the fire extinguisher in there because we do not need that for a while. So I'm going to be keeping 2 acid mushrooms inside of my inventory. Oh, I did not mean to do that. And then we also come readily equipped with 2 filtered waters and 2 nutrient blocks. Now, I honestly did not know that this stuff was in here until just now. But basically, this is what you basically use to get your character back up to full health and stuff like that. But we're going to take out this filtered water, and then we're just going to drink it. Okay, so this game also has an immersion value to it, in which when you are underwater, you will get thirsty faster because the water is actually taking the water that's inside of your body out of it. So so they've actually incorporated that little thing in there. So now that we are back up to full health and full thirst, we can now come over here to the medical kit fabricator, and this will basically fabricate a med kit for us every once in a while, which we can use to gain back a lot of health. If we take a look at it, first aid kits will actually give us 50 points of health, which is actually really good. These are incredibly useful, especially when you are going to go into some dangerous areas. The Aurora is just one of them. So we're actually going to use this now because I'm sort of a stickler for seeing all of those circles in full. It's kind of like an OCD type thing. So it's becoming daytime again, so we're going to drop down here, and then we're going to go and start looking for some limestone. Now, limestone you actually break to get titanium and copper, but we can also pick up quartz to get some glass. We just have to keep an eye on the oxygen meter. Now, I can make an oxygen tank out of 3 pieces of titanium. Now, this is a bladderfish. You basically yes, I
may have unexpected applications. Utilizing alien resources is a proven survival strategy.
Okay, so as we go through the game, the PDA will give us helpful advice, such as it just did. But this is a bladderfish, and you use bladderfish to make to make filtered water, to make additional filtered water. So this is a piece of limestone. You basically press the button a few times and it will break, and then you will get something out of it. So I just got a piece of titanium. I cannot wait to make an oxygen tank, which is actually going to be really easy. I just need to find a couple more pieces of titanium, which should not be very difficult. Copper
is an essential component of all powered equipment. Your probability of survival has just increased to unlikely, but plausible.
Okay, another piece of titanium. Let's see if we can find at least one more before we have to resurface. And also be really careful in areas like this, because there's a fish in some of these areas called crash fish, and crash fish are really annoying, and their name says it all. Like, if you swim close enough to where they sleep, they will come out and they will basically charge at you and explode, and then your character is going to whine and complain, and it's just not fun. So we're going to pick up a few more bladder fish. That is if we can. Okay. And this is metal salvage. Now I'm going to take this for the additional titanium because we need it like badly right now. So we have to swim back up to the surface. I know this is annoying, but believe me, like, we are going to get an oxygen tank. I will not stop this video until I make an oxygen tank. So yeah. So also on your heads-up display, you can actually see where your life pod is, and you can even make beacons to mark important locations on your HUD, so that it will show you where that location is, and you don't have to worry about guessing where everything is. So we're going to come up here, we're going to go over to water, and then we're going to make some filtered water out of these bladder fish that we collected. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're going to go over to basic materials, and using that metal salvage, we can actually convert it into 4 pieces of titanium, which is really good because we need titanium right now. We can also make some glass out of the quartz that we picked up. And then if we go down to electronics, you can actually see that we can make some copper wire out of the copper that we found down there. But now we can make the battery. The battery... Yes, in this game, whenever you make something, it will actually unlock new blueprints for you sometimes, so that you can make stuff that it will only work if you make something that requires the thing that you just made. So we're gonna come down here to tools, and we can actually create 2 things. We can make the scanner, which is something that we really need.
Be used to synthesize blueprints from salvage technology and to record alien biological data.
Okay, so we have that, and so now we just need to make another battery, so that's why we have these other 2 acid mushrooms in here. So now that we have that, we can make another battery, and then we're gonna come down here, we're gonna make a flashlight. And then we still have enough to make ourselves a standard O2 tank.
New blueprint acquired.
As you can see, our oxygen just went up by 30 points, meaning that we can stay underwater longer and do some additional exploration. So, now that we have that, we can also attempt to make... Just let me find it real quick. A high capacity O2 tank. Now this requires some more advanced stuff. We need the standard O2 tank. We also need 2 pieces of glass. We also need 4 pieces of titanium and 1 silver ore. So we're not going to be able to make this for a little bit, but we will be able to in another episode. But we're also going to have to make fins out of the silicone rubber, and if you guys remember, the silicone rubber is made out of the creepvine seed clusters. Now, good thing that we actually spawned right next to some creepvine. Let me see if I can find it. It should not be that difficult to spot because they're like underwater trees. But I just remembered that in order to... Well, actually, no, we do not need the survival knife in order to get that. But we do need... Oh, there's some over there. So yeah, creepvine will stand out like a sore thumb. And the creepvine seed clusters are obviously those yellow bulbs that you see right here. So we're going to grab a couple of these just right after we do a little scanny. If you scan creatures and plants and stuff like that, you will be able to learn about them. You will be able to learn about their characteristics. I have not taken a look as to what they do, as to but I think they come up with like strategies for certain creatures and stuff like that. I know we are going to be meeting some pretty scary creatures. This game may look beautiful, it may look peaceful, it may look relaxing, but this game also has its horrifying side. But it's a good thing that we're not going to be able to see any of that for a little bit, because we still have a lot of stuff that we need to do before we can move on to other more horrifying stuff. So now that we picked up the creepvine, we can make lubricant and silicone rubber. So we're going to make some silicone rubber. Okay, we got 2 pieces. I think I'm also going to make some lubricant because you never know when we might need it.
Is essential in construction of vehicles and power plants.
Very well. So, you can also see that we have a new tab in our sustenance tab, which is called cured food. If you manage to pick up some salt while you are exploring, you will be able to put salt on the things that you on the fish that you cook, and it will actually preserve the fish, so meaning that you do not have to consume it right away. So we're now going to come down here, we're going to come to equipment, and because we have the silicone rubber, we can make the fins.
The fabricator draws from available data to provide environment-appropriate equipment, using locally available materials. For your safety, this setting cannot be overridden.
Okay, so now that we have the fins, you will see that our character has automatically equipped the fins and the O2 tank. The fins will allow us to move more quickly underwater, and obviously the O2 tank will allow us to breathe underwater longer. So we're going to drink that water, and then we are going to let's do just a little bit more exploring. Actually, I do want to take a look at something. I do want to take a look at something because there is something that we need to make. That is, if I can find it. There it is. So the survival knife. This is pretty much the only quote-unquote weapon in the game. The reason why there are no weapons in this game is just really stupid, but I'm going to get into that in a later episode. So we're gonna go get some more creepvine seed clusters, and you're already going to notice somewhat of a difference in our movement speed. You're going to see that we are actually moving a little bit faster than we were previously, and this is because we are wearing the fins. There is a workbench that we can get sometime later on in the game called the modification station. And the modification station will allow us to make modifications to certain pieces of equipment that we craft that will give us hardy bonuses and advantages that we will need later on. So we just got a couple more creepvine seed clusters. We're going to make our way back over here. I know this is a lot of back and forth, but this is something that you need to do a lot when you're first starting out, and then you'll be able to branch out and start discovering other things. So yeah, there are a lot of exciting things that you can do in this game. Creating a base is one of them, but it can also be very time consuming because it requires you to make a lot of resources, to find a lot of resources, excuse me. So we're going to make some silicone rubber. We're actually going to make 4 pieces because you never know when we may need to make more. So we're going to come down here and make the survival knife.
Weapons were removed from standard survival blueprints following the massacre on Braxis Prime. The knife remains the only exception.
You see, that is the stupid thing right there. You have no idea what this massacre was, but for some random reason, the knife is now the only real weapon in the game. You can use other tools that you get as weapons, kind of, sort of, but it's stupid nonetheless. So the last thing that I want to do before we end off this video is make the repair tool. Now, we do need cave sulfur, so this means that we're probably going to be running into some crash fish. So this is the flashlight, as you can see, and we will be able to find sulfur in these caves down here. Now, hopefully we can find some pretty easily. It's usually pretty easy to spot. Oh, sandstone. So this will actually give us more...
Be advised, a common complication for cave divers is loss of orientation, followed by eventual asphyxiation.
Okay, so sandstone will, as you can see, will give us silver, gold, and lead, I believe. But we need to get back up to the surface.
In the local cave systems, sulfur is an essential component of the repair tool.
We already know that. Okay, so as you can see, the sandstone deposits give us lead, silver, and gold, which are 3 components that we will be needing for recipes later on. We will also be needing quartz for a variety of different things as well. Where we can scan these deposits to learn more about them.
Continued degradation of the Aurora's drive core may result in a quantum detonation. Continuing to monitor.
Oh man, get away from me, you big fishy!
Silver-based wiring are an essential component of many habitat modules.
Okay, so it's a good thing that we're able to refill our oxygen here. Here's some more metal salvage. We're just gonna pick this up real quick. More sandstone. We're gonna scan this. Okay. So I'm surprised that we are still not finding any sulfur down here. You would think that we would be able to find like a sulfur deposit somewhere, because that's usually where crash fish are. They like to hide. They make their little habitats around the sulfur and then they live off of it. So you have to basically lure the crash fish out, risk your life to get the crash fish out, and then once it is, you can just take all of its sulfur. But to tell you the truth, I think like the crash fish, they need to make the crash fish a little more stupid in this game, because they follow, like they hone in on you, and if you are not fast, if you do not have fast equipment, they will ram into you and they will do some serious damage. Believe me, I've seen it. It's not fun. So there are a couple of limestone deposits we could do with the copper and the titanium.
30 seconds.
I'm already 3 steps ahead of you, sister. And yes, you can scan all of the fish, you can scan pretty much everything, so that you can learn more about the environment around you and what it does and how you can use it to your advantage. It's really an immersive experience. I'm trying to stay relatively close to the pod. I don't want to go too far, but at the same time, it won't hurt if we do. And there's a giant rock in the way! If we had the propulsion cannon, we would be able to move this really easily, but we can just squeeze right through here. And then... okay. And as you can see, like, there are, like, barnacles and stuff like that. Like, they did a really good job at designing this game. Like, I have to give them props for that. I also love how you can fit through some of the very small holes, even when you think that you can't. So, a piece of the aurora is there. It doesn't surprise me. So down here we can actually give you a good demonstration of the scanner tool. So the scanner tool will allow us to scan different fragments, and this is how we get additional blueprints that we can use to our advantage. Now, we are going to be needing the beacon fragments. I am going to be using beacons in this Let's Play because they are essential for getting your way around. There is no fast travel in this game, so that means that you have to manually swim everywhere, but I do not really have a problem with that. Also, check these cargo things.
Biome supports extensive biodiversity and connects to a number of small cave networks.
Okay, so we already have blueprints going for the grav trap, as well as the sea glide and the beacon. And the sea glide is actually one of the first vehicles that we're going to be getting in this game. It allows us to travel at a faster pace, at a faster rate, and stuff like that. So we will be able to get additional vehicles as we continue along, and you can also scan stuff like this, like little decorations and stuff like that for your base, which is actually really cool.
New blueprint acquired.
New blueprint acquired. So there is also a piece of equipment that we are going to be getting called the rebreather, and the rebreather will actually allow us to be underwater even longer. Like, it will slow down the rate at which we lose oxygen. So you need to scan fragments a certain number of times in order to get the blueprint.
New blueprint acquired.
So now we have the beacon, and we can use that. And so whenever we come across an interesting area that we want to visit again, but we don't want to guess where it is, we can simply just put down a beacon, and we can actually rename the beacon to remind us of what it is that we are at, that's actually over there, so that we can just go straight there and not have to worry about guessing, like I said. And this is like the 3rd time I've come into this cave system. Okay, so it's like something just keeps bringing me, but you will stay back. Okay. Okay. Stupid stalker fish thing. You know, just for that, I'm gonna scan ya. Yeah, I'm gonna scan ya. You don't like being scanned? Okay. Well, sorry, I just scanned you, and now I need to go and get some oxygen, so you win this fight! Yes, I know, we're getting to it. Thank you. Okay, we're not going in there again, because that's where Chompy is. Who knows, maybe there'll be... Nope, it's just a dead end, so... Where is this sulfur? I know it's underground, but at the same time, like, okay, we need to go and do stuff. So picking up some more metal salvage. We need to come over here. We need to come over here. We need to get a little bit further away from there so that we can actually, you know, find stuff. And then we need to come back up here. Otherwise, it's going to say 30 seconds. Okay. So, sulfur. Where are you, sulfur? I have a feeling we're getting a little close. Ooh, hoverfish.
New creature discovered.
Thank you.
Life on this planet grows in unusually distinct and diverse ecological biomes. Further study recommended.
Okay, so now what we need to do is I think this is a decent spot to find some. Oh. Don't mind if I do.
30 seconds.
30 seconds. You know, our guy must have some pretty big lungs if he's able to go through air this quickly. Okay, we need the sulfur. We need the sulfur. I am not leaving this biome until I find us some sulfur. Because I know it exists. For once, I actually want to be rammed by a crash fish, so I know that we are on to sulfur. Sulfur, where are you? I'm freaking out everybody that's currently watching this video with my annoying voice. Come on. So one thing that I do want to mention is that the scanner and the flashlight, along with all of the other tools that you will be making, require power. So that means that you have to make a lot of batteries. Now, luckily for us, there is actually a battery charging station workbench in this game, which will allow us to charge our batteries, which is really beneficial, so that we don't have to keep on making new batteries and then when they deplete just throw them in the garbage. I mean, there is a trash can in this game. I know that for certain. This is infuriating. Usually, okay, what's hurting me? What is hurting me? Oh, it's those little fishies. Yeah, that's just great. Yeah. So you will also.
100 meters. Oxygen efficiency decreased.
That's another reason why we need the rebreather, so that we can actually go deeper and not be able to lose as much oxygen, because without the rebreather on, if you pass 100 meters, your oxygen meter will start decreasing by 4 points instead of 3. You think that it's not that much, but it is. So so yeah, you just have to be really careful about that. This is infuriating. I was hoping that we would be able to find some sulfur, but I think I'm just going to have to wait until the next episode, which is going to be a live stream. But that doesn't mean that we can't scan a couple more things before we do. So we just scanned a mobile vehicle bay, which we can use to create some of the more advanced vehicles in this game.
30 seconds.
I know. Our guy is an oxygen guzzler. You don't have to keep saying that. So you can explore these wrecks. I wish there was a way you could open that door, but sadly there isn't. I know, because I've actually seen this area before. The map is not randomly generated. You will always have the exact same map every single time you spawn into a world. The only thing that will change is your default spawn point. That's the only thing that changes. So we can scan this thing. Giant coral tubes. You have to wonder what kind of creature has those. Swivel chair.
New blueprint acquired.
Grab trap. The grab trap is actually really useful when you are going to have fish. Before you get the propulsion cannon, of course. but it's really good to like gather up small creatures and objects and then just grab them all at once. It's actually really cool. Still kind of frustrating because the objects still move around, but at the same time it is really advantageous to have one. It requires a few materials though, I'll say that. This game just has a really beautiful soundtrack and it fits in really well with the environment. Okay, I think there is actually a high possibility that we'll find sulfur down here. So, I'm just gonna grab us some air. Okay, so now we're going to swim down into this cave and hopefully we hear that noise. That noise. You'll hear it. I am going to stay reasonably quiet. Oh yeah, we're definitely going to run into some crash fish down here. I recognize this area. And there... Yep! That was a crash fish. So now we know that there are crash fish down here, so therefore we know that there's sulfur. So the crash fish came out of this thing, and we just got some cave sulfur.
30 seconds.
So we're going to scan this sulfur plant real quick. And now we need to swim back up to the surface before we drown and die, and it's just gonna be so horrible. Never mind, I just saved us. Okay, so we just got some cave sulfur. Just to be on the safe side, I think I'm going to try and get one more piece, because we may need it. That's just the thing with these kinds of games, is that you can never have too much of one thing. You will always end up using it in some way. Okay. You know what? I'm just going to look for more sulfur later. I really want to get back to the life pod and make that thing. Make whatever it is that we need to make before I end off the episode. We also need to get some food and water, but we can worry about that later. Okay, so first we're going to make all of this titanium. Okay, so if you get 10 pieces of titanium, you can make titanium ingots. But the only thing about this is that once you make them into titanium ingots, that's it. Like you can't reverse it. Well, I'm not going to worry about making copper wire right now, but I am going to make us this hover fish, because we do need some food.
The flavor of unsavory meat with salt or locally sourced herbs and spices.
Now it's giving us culinary advice. That's just great. Repair tool, thank you. Okay, so we now have the repair tool. Okay, so if you see a broken object somewhere and it's repairable, you will see this. You will see a circle with a percentage in the middle of it, and all you have to do is hold down R2 and it will automatically repair the broken equipment for you.
Local radiation readings suggest the Aurora's drive core has reached critical state. Quantum detonation will occur within 2 hours.
That's nice to know. So we're going to repair this first.
Life pod secondary systems online. Running full environment diagnostic and outputting results to databank.
There we go. So we're also going to repair the radio. Now the radio is actually going to be really important in the progression of this game. And we just received a message.
This is Aurora. Distress signal received. to operation will be dispatched to your location in 9 hours. Continue to monitor for emergency transmissions from other life pods.
Okay. So, I think we have made some serious headway in our first episode. I know it doesn't seem like we did much, but we did. So, I am going to do some quick inventory management. So we're going to put some of this stuff in here just to clear up some space. And then I am going to say thank you guys so much for watching this video if you did. Please leave me a comment down below telling me what you would like to see me do in future episodes and live streams. And I am really looking forward to doing more of this. So after this video gets around a little bit, I will live stream the second episode, and we just did our first episode of Subnautica, guys. So thank you guys once again so much for watching. This is just the Savage, aka the Spectrum Gamer from Crazy Color Gaming. Like and subscribe. Also check out the Crazy Color Gaming channel, where me and my friends post up videos. We haven't posted up anything in a while, but we definitely will. So go and show us some love. Go over to their individual channels, give them some love as well. And I will see you guys in the next episode. God bless you.